To all who are joining us from the different parts of the world via the various social media platforms, a global namaste and a global Om Shanti.
I've got the link, it's from the postcard. You just type it.
I am truly delighted to be hosting this session on behalf of the Lohana Community United Kingdom. I'm very honored to be the master of ceremony with this truly enlightened and elevated personality, Sister Jayanti, or as we may call Jayanti Ben. Let me tell you a little about this angelic lady, Sister Jayanti. Born in the year 1949 to a spiritual daughter to a Brahma Baba, she moved at a tender age of 8 to the United Kingdom. She began her life's spiritual path of the spiritual studies and service with the Brahma Kumaris at the age of 19. As an emissary for peace for the last 45 years, Sister Jayanti has had a vision that is truly global and deeply spiritual. She is a spiritual leader of her times. She goes through contemporary, exudes practical wisdom, and truly connects with people. An elegant speaker, Sister Jayanti delivers a unique blend of Eastern wisdom and Western education and culture, imparting the deepest spiritual truths with utmost clarity. Her prominent lecture themes have included health, education, racial harmony, women needs, religions of the world, peace, and international relations. Sister Jayanti's role with the Brahma Kumaris is a very broad-based role. She is the director of the Brahma Kumaris International Coordinating Office in London, and also acts as a global administrator. She also is a representative of the Brahma Kumaris at the UN, and she represents them at the United Nations. A much sought after speaker and an author with several inspiring spiritual books that she's written. She's also a teacher, providing spiritual guidance to many students at the Brahma Kumaris. The name Jayanti, what does that mean? Jayanti in Gujarati or Hindustani means a celebration. Jayanti means an auspicious celebration. Now, this lovely lady carries that name. We often refer to the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi as Gandhi Jayanti. We also refer to the avatar of Lord Sri Krishna, who is Narsimha Bhagwan, as Narsimha Jayanti or Vaman Jayanti. Jayanti is a celebration. But today, in front of us, amongst us, is the biggest celebration we have, the celebration herself, Sister Jayanti. So you know what? There is so much we want to listen to her for. We want to gain the spiritual wisdom from her. So without further delay, I'm going to ask the President of the Lohana Community United Kingdom, Mr. Sunil Bhai Majithia, to formally welcome Sister Jayanti on this show of the cloud of COVID-19 has a silver lining. So over to Sunil Bhai Majithia.
Jai Shri Krishna, Om Shanti, Sister Jayanti. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to listen to your wisdom. Thank you, Minaben, Lalitbhai, for once again giving us this opportunity to host today's session with Sister Jayanti, who is a great spiritual leader, and I'm looking forward to learning from her wisdom today. I hope all the distinguished guests and viewers enjoy today's session and learn a bit from it. Thank you very much. Be safe. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you very much, Sunil Bhai. I really appreciate your warm welcome to Sister Jayanti. Sister Jayanti, Sunil Bhai is a president for the Lohana Community, United Kingdom, who are actually working very hard to unite and make sure the unity of the Lohana community stays strong, and the great word of spirituality, of culture, of humanity, and the hard work that they are doing to spread all this is amazing. Now, we are also, before we start this program, we can never start this program, Jayanti Ben, without our especially a super lady who is zooming around the world and connecting everybody, and that is none other than Mrs. Meena Ben Khagram, and she will formally welcome you in a traditional way, and thereafter we will resume your talk. Meena Ben Khagram, can you unmute yourself, please? Thank you.
Jayanti. Tilak for you. Can you see me?
Yes, indeed.
So some chokha for you. And welcome. And beautiful flowers garland for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, I will now start my global namaskar to all. Karibu. Jai Hind. Om Shanti. Welcome to all to Nakuru town of world famous flamingos, wildlife, and where fastest marathon runners are born. Dr. Lalit and myself are super excited to welcome you, Sister Jayanti Ben, and all others. You with Sister Vedantali, Sister Janki, Sister Gulzar, you all had come to Nakuru in 1984-87 and nearly started a spiritual university. I remember we, with my other friends, wore full white and came to attend the lectures. Since then, at moment, Ila bin Harya is running the Raj Yog classes and training students in Nakuru. Sister, one small thing to share with you. You are Sindhi, and so we are Lohana. Sindhis are Lohana. In Kenya, we accept them as a part of Lohanas. Welcome, Jayanti Ben.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my welcome is not finished if I don't introduce the backbone of this session, Dr. Lalit Soda. Trendy looking, and my kid cousin is world popular chiropractic. He is an international speaker, author of the book, Pushti Maragya. Sister, can you see?
Yes, I can see beautifully. Yeah.
Thank you. It is in English for the new generation. He lectures on yoga. He's an instructor, loves trekking, and he mountains all over the world, go for mountaining every world. And he's a very kind-hearted sister. Back to you, Lalit Bhai. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you very much, Meena Ben. Today is Sister Jayanti's show. So without any further delay, Sister Jayanti, Om Shanti, my humble obeisances to your lotus feet. And please, if I may request you humbly, to enlighten everybody who's here on the Zoom show. This is live transmitted also onto Facebook and other social media platforms. And with your words of wisdom, if you can share with us your glories and your stories of the silver lining to the cloud of COVID-19. Over to
Thank
you, Sister Jayanti.
Om Shanti and a global namaste to each and every one. My dear brother Lalit, Sister Meena, the dignitaries of the Lohana community of the UK. It's an honor and a privilege to join you today. And yes, the COVID story continues. When we first heard about it in December, it seemed very, very far away. And we thought that maybe it's that world, that part of the world. But gradually the COVID cloud spread and reached across the whole wide world. And today in India, it's reached in a massive way, and it's a very sad story. And in the UK, again, we see that it's a second wave and maybe as intense or more intense than the first one. And in Kenya too, I'm sure that you're experiencing all the challenges that have come with this. And so, yes, we're very aware of the bereavements that many families have experienced. We're aware of the financial problems that have been caused. We're also very aware that separation of families has happened and isolation has not been easy. Many challenges have come. And so what is the silver lining of all of this? Well, generally speaking, what happens is that when we go through trauma, then there's a lot of upheaval. But out of that upheaval, there's a transition to something which is better. What we are seeing happen at the present time is that for the last several years, WHO was predicting that there would be some sort of pandemic. They didn't know what, but just looking at statistics of SARS and other viruses that had been going on and seeing that international travel cuts across all borders and boundaries, they were alerting us to the fact that there may be yet another manifestation of viruses in some form or another, but also the eating habits of people, where unfortunately we forgot about ahimsa and non-violence. And so whether it was wild animals or raised animals and livestock, but we found that the virus is spread from the animal kingdom to the humans. And so it's not unexpected that this should have happened. But of course, even when you're expecting the rain to come, and maybe you even prepare for it to a certain extent, you don't know that if a storm comes, what's going to happen? What's going to be the effect of that? And so the virus came not just with some sort of already expectation, but it came as a huge storm that nobody expected, that a tiny little virus would bring the whole world to its knees. And yet, yes, we understand that there are big lessons to be learned about pandemics and how to deal with these, but also we've learned about how not to have further pandemics. And I would suggest that one of the things that we must do is to ensure that our eating habits are correct. And so our eating habits are not based on any type of violence or hinsa, but truly, if we wish to have a life of non-violence, it begins with our eating habits. Mahatma Gandhi had alerted us to this some decades ago, that if we want to have peace in the world, our diet also has to be with peaceful means. and not any other means of violence. So yes, many lessons have been learned, but the silver lining, I haven't yet mentioned the positive things that have happened through all of this. And I'm sure that everyone, each one of you who's watching and listening, would have seen that one of the positive benefits has been that where families are together, they've had, after a very long period of time to actually be together. Sometimes I used to hear that parents would say that we're not even able to have a meal together once a week. We have to timetable everything because our children are now so busy. Even young children are busy, but especially teenagers and young adults, they're very busy. And so we have to schedule an evening or an afternoon together when we can be together and even have a meal together. And now suddenly, lockdown. And no, I can't go out and meet friends. I can't go here and there. Now I have to be stable. And who am I stable with? I'm with my circle of immediate family, my siblings, my parents, or young adults with young children. So this combination of coming together with unlimited time. And I know that parents have also had to work during all of this. And so, yes, maybe some parents have had to be even more busy than before. Some people tell me that whereas before they started work at 9 o'clock in the morning and finished work at 5 o'clock in the evening, now their employers even take it a step further and they expect them to start at 8:30 and they go on till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. And so I know there are those situations too. But yet still, I think families have had more time to be together than we've ever had in this last century. And so now, getting to know my family is beautiful because I would be just missing them in the mornings. I'd be maybe rushing off after a cup of coffee, and they would be rushing off to university or school or even work. And in the evenings, we'd come home and they would again be different appointments, different engagements. And so, where did we have time together? Did I know what was happening in the hearts of those whom I'm closest to? And so now we had time, after a very, very long time to listen to each other. Sometimes there's no problems as such, but it's just that we don't make time to listen. And so Corona taught us karuna, compassion. And compassion from the heart means making time for each other. Instead of thinking, I'm too busy, I don't have time for this, I have to get on with this, and this. But no, to make time is a precious gift. Why? Because I'm giving of myself. And so you can't calculate how much it costs in terms of pounds and pence. But giving of myself and my time to you is an indication of how much I respect and value you, and even how much I love you. If I'm fobbing somebody off and saying, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have time for a coffee morning with you, then there's something more that I'm saying. I'm saying that I don't value you. I don't have time for you. But when I say, yes, I am going to make time for you, then that's very, very precious because I'm giving of myself. So I think that the bonding of families has happened in a very beautiful way between the generations, between siblings, but also, yes, I know that we've been separated from parts of our family, And so maybe grandparents haven't been able to meet their grandchildren. But now with the wonders of technology, we can find that through telecommunications, through all sorts of platforms, we can meet and be close to each other. One of the advantages of all the internet facilities that technology has provided us with is that you can be in Australia in the morning, and in the afternoon you can be in Europe, and in the evening you can be in New York. And you'll go through all the different time zones and you'll be able to meet distant members of families, some relatives, some friends, or some community people. And so I know I myself, the Brahma Kumaris University extends out across the world in 120 countries. And so, yes, I know that in a couple of days, I'll be sharing the lesson with people in Australia, and for them, it'll be the morning. And for me, it'll be the evening time. And so we've been having conversations with people across the continents. And I'm sure that the community of the Lohana family also is scattered across the world. And so time to be able to connect with them, time to be able to see them, and time to be able to listen to them, time to be able to understand what it is they are going through and have that empathy and sympathy for the things of their heart. And so I thank the universe that COVID-19 has given us time to be able to connect with our families, either physically or virtually, but to connect with all our families and friends in a way that we'd forgotten about. Maybe something more than that. Maybe it's been a time of service. So many people say that I was so busy in my own activities that I'd forgotten what it was to do some voluntary work for some communities, some societies. And I find that people who had some time were cooking, not just for themselves and family, but they were cooking and delivering food to places where they knew there were food banks, and people would be sharing that food. Some would deliver those foods. Some would say, okay, let me go shopping for my neighbor who isn't able to do that for herself or himself. And so in different ways, we found that the spirit of service, the spirit of karuna, compassion, emerged through karuna. And we found that there were more volunteers in so many different fields and aspects than we'd ever thought about before. And so people finishing, the key workers in some places, finishing their normal duties at work, and then in their free time, doing volunteering work, and others at home also volunteering in so many different ways. If young people today have experienced the joy of serving others through volunteering for them, I think that that is definitely a huge, huge plus and part of that silver lining. Because pre-COVID, I think many of us were quite occupied within our own circles and spheres. And so, yes, there was different things in which we occupied ourselves with, all good things, nothing wrong, nothing bad. But yet now, COVID pushed us beyond our own comfort zones and made us aware that there is something we have to do for the community in which we live. And so many turned out to be volunteering in different ways of providing support. I'll share a little story with you. I heard how in Surat, one place, and the story must be replicated in many different ways in other places too. But I was in India at the time. In fact, I found myself in lockdown in India from March through till July the 12th or 13th, something like that. And so I was hearing the stories in India. And one woman shared the story of how she'd had this idea that if she could make just 10 chapatis more each day than she would for her family, and she could inspire her friends in the neighborhood to also do the same, perhaps they could together create a stack of 1,000 chapatis, and they would deliver this to a central point from which there could be distribution. They did this, and other neighborhoods began to follow. And there was this very beautiful gesture of women cooking and providing extra food, but in particular, each woman just cooking 10 more chapatis. And they had millions of chapatis that they could donate to those who had no food to eat. And so different things like this, we discovered the wellspring of human kindness to be able to serve and to share, because I believe that the essence of the human spirit is of goodness. And yes, there's been a lot of layers of dust that we've accumulated through the years, but to come back to that essence of goodness was something very beautiful to observe both in India, but also when I came back to the UK, I found the same spirit alive and well here also. Again, volunteers in many, many different ways. But there's one thing in particular that I think COVID has done, and that has been to remind us how fragile the system of society has become. We'd forgotten this. We thought that with technology, we could master everything. We could dominate nature. We could take over the universe. And we forgot that we are part of the universe and we don't have the right to be dominating and exploiting and aggressing nature. And so this lesson has been a huge, huge lesson in humility. Crunching our ego is never an easy thing, but the universe has a way to teach us that also. And so I think this has humbled us all, that yes, there are things that are beyond our control, that we can't say that we have dominated and conquered everything, but no, nature is teaching us a lesson. There was a very interesting video that was circulating many months ago. I think it would have been around the time of April, May, when lockdown in UK, India had already been going for about a month or 6 weeks. And what we saw was videos of wild animals coming into the cities, kangaroos in Adelaide, looking around and seeing that there's no one. And so they were very gently hopping across all the streets there. We saw in Europe, again, animals that have been shoved out into the forests, but now they were coming back into the cities. And so nature was beginning to show us that even though we might have thought we were in charge, but that isn't the case. Nature is in charge of its own situation. But looking at things even deeper than just nature, and maybe coming to the realization that there was a very major thing we had forgotten to give time to, and that was to go on our own inner spiritual journey. And so I think that if through COVID-19, even some people in the world have come to this awareness that if I want to have stability, if I want to be able to have a state in which I'm able to go beyond the physical dimension and come into that inner state of calm and quiet, which is beyond fear, beyond anxiety and worry, then I think COVID will have given us a very beautiful silver lining. And I think many people have come to that awareness, because most times we think about the task first and foremost. The most important thing is to get this done. And whether it's at the expense of my leisure time, whether it's at the expense of my family time, no problem. I have to get this task done. And so our families were neglected. But that's another thing. But in fact, there's something deeper that we neglected. And that was the spiritual sustenance and nourishment that I need to give my inner being. Our attention was totally focused on the things out there. And now, when we couldn't go outside, when we couldn't do all the things that we used to do, now there was time, there was space, and there were many questions we had. Why is this happening? It didn't just happen as a fluke by chance. Nothing in the universe happens by chance. There is rhyme and reason in everything. And this lesson has been to go deep inside ourselves and ask, well, how much faith do I have? What is the belief system that I hold? And if I have faith, who is it that I have faith in? Do I have faith in the Almighty? And if I have faith in the Almighty, then why am I anxious? Why am I fearful? Fear actually is something that causes weakness in our immune system. It causes weakness in my nervous system, that's also for sure, but also my immunity. And so can I learn to go beyond fear? Yes, definitely. Spirituality teaches me that. And if I can have hope instead of fear, then hope actually boosts, it enhances my immunity. There's a lot of medical research that has been done in terms of feelings and physiology. And there's a lot of information out there that you can check out. And so the enhancement of the immune system is through hope, and the degradation of my immunity is because of my fear. So once I learned to go inside and ask myself the existential questions that I need to understand, when I ask myself the question, well, where are these feelings coming from? And I realized that, yes, information and misinformation has been part of the story, but that also is out there. It is my own innermost worries and fears that are actually of major concern. And if I'm afraid, fear is infectious. And so one person in a family afraid, and the fear triggers the same reaction in others around me too. You know this in your own family. The mother afraid, the father afraid, a child afraid. And what is the impact in the atmosphere? The other way is also true. If one can have faith and hope and courage because of their belief, then they can inspire that in all those around them. And that's good for mind, and it's also definitely good for body. And yes, both are connected intensely, but the priority is what's going on in the mind, because the psyche impacts the soma. This is why we talk about psychosomatic illness. But the other way, if I can reinforce the power of the psyche, then that's going to help the soma definitely on all levels, absolutely. And so the big gift of COVID, I think, has been that we've learned to go inside and to know that the foundation of our faith has to be our belief in the divine, by whatever name. But when I have belief in the divine, that gives me strength and courage and hope for the future. It also gives me the possibility of raising my consciousness, not just one step, but by several bars, because my faith in the divine gives me hope for who I am and the transformation that I can bring about within myself. And so I believe that if today I can invoke and evoke and emerge the goodness that is there latent within myself, and this applies to every single human being on the planet, all of us. We all started our journey with goodness. And today the reminder is that I might have been influenced by things here and there, but what I now need to do is to be able to come back to that original state of goodness and allow that to emerge. And I will have learned the biggest lesson that I need to learn, and the silver lining will have proved to be not just silver, but even maybe a chance to have a golden step forward in the story of humanity. Our materialism, consumerism had brought us down to a level of darkness. And out of all this darkness, now we see light at the end of the tunnel. And we know that there can be a better world possible for me, for those around me, the ones I love the most, but also for you and every one of us. But it is up to us to make sure that we nurture, sustain, and hold that goodness foremost so that then it can multiply and spread, and together we'll move forward into a world in which there's greater light and love and justice and purity. Thank you for listening. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, Sister Jayanti. That was so enlightening and so powerful a message that the silver lining is going right deep within us to find that strength, that hope, that faith. Immensely delivered, and I am sure the audience has really benefited from these words of wisdom. Jayanti Ben, before we move on to the next section of our program of the questions and answer, the Q&A, we actually have the High Commissioner for India to Kenya, who has taken some time out of his schedule and decided to join us at a very kind request of Meena Ben to come and enjoy the words of wisdom with you and to have a warm greeting with you. Mr. Dr. Virender Paul, actually, is the High Commissioner of India to Kenya. He has recently been appointed, but prior to that, he joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1991 before taking up his present assignment as the High Commissioner of India to Kenya. He was an additional secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, dealing with the multilateral engagement in India's neighborhood. Prior to that, he served as a joint secretary at Sushma Swaraj's Institute of Foreign Service, formerly the Foreign Service Institute, a premier institution of India for the training of Indian and foreign diplomats. He has earlier served as an ambassador, as a deputy permanent representative of India to the United Nations in Geneva from the year 2016 to 2019. As a Deputy High Commissioner of India, he was in London from 2013 to 2016. At the Indian High Commissioner's Embassy in Washington, D.C., he was there from 2010 to 2013. As a director in the Prime Minister's office during 2007 to 2010. He also held diplomatic positions in the Indian mission in Almaty, Vladivostok, Rome, and St. Petersburg. During the other previous stints at the Ministry of External Affairs headquarters, he served in Europe East and American divisions. He holds a medical degree from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. He speaks Punjabi, English, Hindi, and also Russian. A very warm welcome, Om Shanti and the global Namaste to our Dr. Virender Paul, the appointed High Commissioner from India to Kenya. May I request you, sir, to warmly welcome and say a few words to our sister Jayanti.
Thank you. To begin with, my most respectful greetings to Sister Jayanti. Pranam, namaskar, greetings to one and all. Thank you, Dr. Soda, for this generous introduction. Thank you, Meena Khagramji, for inviting me to this session, to this most enlightening and most illuminating talk by Sister Jayanti. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much. I would like to also share with you that I have had the happy opportunity of personally meeting and paying respects to Sister Jayanti in London when I was serving as Deputy High Commissioner there. I have so many friends there in London, in Brahma Kumari's, the setup, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to visit, with their help, the premises of Brahma Kumaris. I'm so very happy to be here with you today. Talking of COVID-19, what I would like to say very briefly is that it is an unprecedented, it's an extraordinarily difficult time for us, and it is a crisis that has really affected us adversely in every possible sense of the term. It has caused great misery, great dislocation, great suffering to humanity all across the world. It was so pleasant to hear Sister Jayanti telling us about how to cope with it, how to deal with it, how to attempt to live in a way that it should not transform our thinking in any way that is not in line with the larger thinking of humanity. We all know that governments, doctors, nurses, frontline workers, there's so many people, so many professions associated with the attempt to find solutions to this crisis. There are so many unsung heroes, people, they are not known to us, but they are behind the scenes working to find a solution. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank them and to also pay tribute to them as they are working tirelessly to help the humanity. We sincerely hope that we are able to overcome this crisis, this global crisis, sooner rather than later. But we all should find also ways and means to remain calm and to remain aware of the challenge and how to deal with it, how to protect ourselves, how to protect others. And we should be able to hopefully find a solution sooner rather than later. With these words, I would like to thank all of you. I would like to thank each and every one of you on this occasion. And once again, my most respectful regards to Sister Jayanti and all my friends at Brahma Kumaris in London. Pranam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Virender Paul. Thank you for this lovely welcome and wonderful words, and all the way from Kenya. So thank you for participating with us and taking this time out for our beloved sister Jayanti. So thank you once again. Moving on to the next part of the program, Dr. Virendra Paul, thank you. I know you have got another commitment. However, we once again, on behalf of Meena Ben and myself and the Lohana Community United Kingdom, we thank you for joining us. Sister Jayanti, we move on to the next section of our talk, which is the questions and answers. And with your permission, may I take this opportunity to ask you a few questions on behalf of the audience. And I would also suggest the audience that if there are any questions that they would like to send to us, the chat box is now open. We have received a few questions, so we'll start off with them. And if there are any questions that chat box appears with, then we'll certainly entertain them. Is that okay with you, Sister Jayanti?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, thank you. So moving on to the very first question I have here is, I have a personal question for you, Sister Jayanti, and this is, what instance was it that made you know that this spirituality is your mission? From what I understand, you were a very shy young girl at school, which is the Orange Hill Grammar School in Edgware. You went to school there, a very, very shy person, yet a prefect of the school, who wouldn't want to make any announcements at school, but would tell the other prefect to make the announcement because you wouldn't talk to too many people because 2 was good, but 3 was a crowd. Now you speak to 300, 3,000, 30,000, and probably a crowd of 300,000 and plus. What was that change? What happened?
Growing up in London in my teens, I was very aware that there were so many different directions that I could take in my life. And yet I wasn't sure which would be right for me. And they say that one of the factors of stress is when you have too much choice and yet not enough wisdom with which to make your choice. And so I took time out from uni and I went to have a gap year in India to connect with my roots. And once I was there, something shifted in me after a few months of being a social butterfly. And I thought, I want to find out more about what the Brahma Kumaris actually say, though I'd known them since childhood, but I didn't know what they were actually teaching. And something that Dadi Janki said really touched my heart and got me started. And she said, the conscience at the present time is overlaid with many, many influences. There's media, there's society, there's friends, there's education, there's all of these things going on. And it's difficult to let the conscience actually do the work of guiding you in the right direction. And she touched that nerve that was active in me. And so my question to her was, well, what does one do to change the situation? And she said, meditation. Meditation removes all those layers that cover our conscience. And then you can see things as they truly are, and you'll be able to know what you need to do. And so I started my meditation lessons the same day. And a few months later, I was very sure that this is what I needed to do in my life.
So, in this modern day and age, when a girl meets a guy and says, yes, it clicked. So that is what clicked for you. Is that correct?
You could say it was that. The experience of God's love was so powerful that, yes, this is what I wanted to dedicate my life to the experience of that myself, but also to be able to share that. I first thought of my family, relatives, and friends. I want to share these ideas with everyone I know so that they too can have that experience of God's love. And of course, then it extended beyond my family and friends to anyone.
And that is very true. And that actually leads me to the next question. And Meena Ben, if I may ask you to be ready, not yet, but to spotlight this wonderful person who is a surprise for Sister Jayanti. Now, your comment that led to the fact that you not just wanted to spread the word of God, the love, not to 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 individuals, but you wanted to do it around the globe. Now, from what I understand, that when you were a younger girl or a young lady, obviously every parent's ambition would be to get their daughter married to a lovely Rajkumar and make her a Rajkumari, a queen of that household. Yet you came from such a spiritual background also. And your mother said, no, 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 no. Not a Rajkumari or not a queen of a house, but a Rajkumari or a queen of the Jagat. Jagat ki Rani banana hai humko unko. So aaj, today that has turned out so true. And this wonderful person wants to actually come and say Om Shanti to you, who actually told us कि जगत की रानी तो सिर्फ जयंती बहन ही है. तो उनको हम spotlight करते हैं, मीना बहन. Okay, if she is ready to be spotlighted, then we can spotlight her.
Yeah, as she is in Manza with her friend, I don't know which name she is logged in.
If she can message you with the name, I thought she had already done that.
Yeah, that's what I am trying to ask her.
Okay, so this is Sister Jayanti, no other than Vidyaben Patel, who is currently 90 years of age, and she was promised to log into with us, but unfortunately we don't have her login details and never managed to get them. But she is the lady who actually wanted to make sure that she comes and says Om Shanti to you. Minaben, if you can mute yourself. Minaben, can you mute yourself? Thank you. Yeah. So, Sister Jayanti, this was an amazing thing that not only did you share it with 1 or 2 people, but you shared it with thousands around the globe. And that really proved your mother's words so right. So that was wonderful. I think we're trying to get Vidyaben into spotlighting her, but we haven't been able to yet connect. And as we go along, if we do connect with her, we'll definitely give her a spotlight and she can say Om Shanti to you.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah. Do you remember her?
Yes, I do indeed. Yes.
So we were really hoping that we had all her details so we could spotlight you with a bit of a surprise there. But anyway, nevertheless, she will be joining us.
Good.
So, you know, you do, as Sister Jayanti,
I think we've got her.
Oh, have we got her? Okay.
Yes, I think so.
Meena Ben, have we got her?
Yes, she's there.
Okay,
Yes.
can you spotlight her, please?
She's already there.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Vidya Benji, कैसे हो?
ठीक हूँ, सुन रही हूँ आपसे, बहुत मजा आती है.
जी. देखो कब का संबंध चलता रहा है और आज भी हम इकट्ठे हो रहे हैं.
हाँ,
जी.
मैंने मीना बहन को बोला कि जयंती बहन को मैं जानती हूँ, मास पहले बात की थी.
जी.
मैं बोला अटेंडिस्ट, तो आई शुरू से आपको सुना सब कुछ.
जी, थैंक यू. जी. और बाबा आपको ठीक रखेगा, सलामत रखेगा, सब बहुत अच्छी तरह से आपकी जीवन बहुत आराम से चलती रहेंगी. जी.
थैंक यू.
Thank you very much, Vidya Ben. Om Shanti Apnepan. And thank you, Sister Jayanti, for acknowledging our lovely Vidya Ben. Om Shanti. Thank
Om
you.
Shanti.
Shanti Ben.
She has come to open a new place in Mwanza. Is it all right? Is it true?
We are in Arusha, Kilimanjaro.
Yes. You have opened a center there?
Yes, in Tanzania.
Beautiful. That's excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Meena Ben, and thank you very much, Vidya Ben Patel. Thank you once again. And then we move on to our next question that I was about to ask Sister Jayanti. Meena Ben, can we spotlight Sister Jayanti now? Thank you very much. Yes. So my question to you was, you lecture, you are the director of the Brahma Kumari International Office, you author, you inspire people, you motivate people. What next? What is the mission you have?
My dearest thought is that people should experience God's light and love in their life so that they can know what it is to be liberated from negativity and fear and anxiety and experience the beauty and the joy of human life. That really is my good wishes and my pure thought for my human family.
Wow, immense, powerful comment there. Thank you very much. Now, the other thing is, a couple of questions that came up from people who are not aware of a lot about Raj Yoga meditation. So in a few, maybe a couple statements, if you can tell us what Raj Yoga meditation is. Can anyone meditate? Is there any specific time to do so? And maybe just a few details about it. Thank you.
The word yoga has come to mean the hatha yoga and physical exercises, but yoga actually means union, connection. And so Raj Yoga is the union, the connection with the one who is the highest, the supreme God. And so in Raj Yoga meditation, first step is to go inside and come to the awareness of Atma, that I'm not this physical body, but I am that inner being of light, the soul. And the second step is to connect with God, the divine, through the power of our mind, just as we can connect with a human being through the power of our thoughts. Well, it's absolutely as easy, if not easier, to connect with the divine when I know that God is that being of light, the source of all positive attributes. Then my thoughts can turn to God, and in the connection that I experience with God, that is yoga union. That is Raj Yoga, yoga with the one who is the highest. And as I experience this connection, I recognize God as my mother, my father, my teacher, my Sadguru, my friend. Many other relationships, as we've remembered in Hinduism, in Bhakti, but especially these 5 relationships are the foundation of life. And when I can experience all these relationships, I receive the benefit of the virtues that come as a result of these relationships. And yes, anyone of any age can practice this. The youngest student in our class is around 4 years of age.
Wow.
And the oldest student that I knew was Tari Janki, who was 104 when she departed earlier this year. And so between 4 and 104, anyone can meditate, and maybe even beyond 104, but I personally haven't met them. But it's possible because it's nothing to do with physical postures, just sitting comfortably, just to allow the mind to move in the direction of the Supreme. And that is the connection that is Raj Yoga.
Sister Jayanti, like millions and others who have this particular question, man ek chanchal cheez hai. It is constantly going back and forth to different areas. How do we channel that mind? How do we connect that mind to the Supreme? Because it's constantly flickering.
When there's something that you're interested in, that's when your mind focuses and concentrates. And even if there's somebody distracting you, you'll say, wait, I'll come to you in a minute. Let me focus on this first. And so when I begin to understand the beauty of God, the truth who is God, my mind becomes so fascinated by the beauty of the divine. They say Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Shiva, the being of light, the seed, the point, the light, the benefactor, Kalyankari, is the one who is the most beautiful of all. And so when my mind recognizes the beauty of the truth that is God, then my mind moves in that direction. And so I think first is to be able to understand myself, that I'm a soul. Second is to understand God, the divine. And when I recognize that being, then instead of my mind wandering here and there, the thing that fascinates my mind and works like a magnet to pull my thoughts to the one, the beauty of God and the truth of God, then my mind becomes stable in that consciousness. And this is described as Man Manam Bhav, when the mind is focused on God alone. And anyone is able to achieve this. Yes, maybe at times our mind plays mischief and our thoughts go here and there. But as I learn to focus and in a very natural way direct my thoughts towards God, then I make that connection.
So wonderfully explained, but it is a learned practice. You have to learn through this. Is that correct?
Even a simple thing like making a cup of tea, you have to learn and you have to
Absolutely.
practice. Making something very complicated like a cake, you have to learn and practice. So anything requires first the understanding, and then secondly, the practice of that. And so meditation is no different. Let me understand the technique. Let me understand where my thoughts are coming from. Let me understand how to be able to channel them in a specific way. And of course, the more I practice, the easier it becomes and the more powerful it becomes.
Most certainly. Now that leads me, in fact, into my next question. You said that this is something that obviously we need to learn, like anything, and because our mind is not used to doing this. Now, you, as a Brahma Kumari organization, has managed to go in touch 120 different countries. You have your establishments in 120 different countries. Now, obviously, people want to connect. People, the audience that's going to be global today are listening via Zoom, via Facebook, via other social media platforms. Now, if you have been able to go to 120 countries, how can people connect with you? How can people get in touch with you so that they also can benefit from learning the Raj Yoga?
If they go to the Brahma Kumaris International website, then they'd be able to get more information about us, but also they'd be able to get a link to any one of the countries. And so if you connect with one of the centers in any one of the countries, they can then direct you to further centers in that country also. So for example, in Nairobi, we have a beautiful center, and Sister Vedanti is the head of the center there, and she's the head of all our African activities. And so they would be able to guide you to the center in Nakuru, for example, or
Yes.
anywhere else in Kenya also. So go to the International Brahma Kumaris website and you'd be able to find out.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Sister Jayanti. In fact, our lovely sister Dipti Ben, has actually put the contact site onto the chat box. So for the benefit of the viewers, it's www.brahmakumaris, with an S at the end, brahmakumaris.org. So if you want to connect with the international website, it's the www.brahmakumaris.org. And for the United Kingdom, it's www.brahmakumaris.uk/. So these are the contact details that have been put on the chat box. Thank you very much, Diptiban. And that was amazing. Sister Jayanti, you actually mentioned a lovely person who is in Nairobi. Sister Vedanta, did you say?
Vedanti, yes, that's right.
Vedanti, yeah. So Vedanti Ben is also, I believe, connected with us right now. So if I may request Meena Ben, and if she has located her, in fact, Meena Ben had a word with Sister Vedanti earlier on, and we're obviously wanting to say Om Shanti to you. So we just want to make sure we can connect her. Meena Ben, is she connected at the moment?
I had seen her earlier.
Okay. Okay, try to locate her. If you locate her, that would be wonderful. This is the lovely beauty about all the people who are all over the world spreading the message of the Brahma Kumaris, the Raj Yoga meditation, and amazing stuff that's going on.
I
Okay.
can actually see
She's
Vedanta.
she's coming back. I think she
Okay.
has come back.
I think internet has been a bit of an issue with quite a few other people too. So Vedanti Ben is joining in. Sister Vedanti is probably going to be spotlit right now, working very hard in Nairobi, spreading the word of the Brahma Baba and the Brahma Kumaris. So really delighted to have her on board with us, with Sister Shivani, with Sister Jayanti today. Meena Ben? Okay, not a problem. We'll continue with our talk right now. So one thing is very, very interesting, Sister Jayanti, that if we can link our consciousness to the concept of climate change, can you shed some light on that, please?
We think that the external world is actually happening just by itself. But in fact, there's an expression we use, and that is inside out. And if you look at the chaos that's going on inside our consciousness, inside our minds and hearts, then you begin to see why there's so much chaos in nature. And so there's all sorts of things happening due to climate change and human intervention. But especially, I would say that is the whole subject of consumption. Instead of understanding that our happiness lies within, we've thought that our happiness lies outside in acquisition and consumption and possessions. And so we're actually using 1.5 times more than what the planet can actually take care of. And so if this rate of consumption continues, we're going to run out of all our resources totally. And so the state of the gases that have been emitted within the last 20 years even, never mind the last 100 years, but even the last 20 years have created the state where climate change has happened and the atmosphere of the world is now X degrees above the limits that the gases can be contained with. And so the Paris Agreement that we came to in 2015, but which hasn't yet been honored, and actually there's been very little progress made in terms of real practical change. They said that if the climate change were to come to a point of +2 degrees beyond the normal level of the temperature of the earth, then there would be such changes that would become irreversible. And in fact, I think that we are now at that tipping point where, for example, all the glaciers have melted. And just imagine the future that tells us. When all the glaciers have gone, then no more fresh water. The water, the snow that used to come every spring in the mountains, if that fails, where do we get fresh water from? So that's just one little example. So our consciousness becoming totally materialistic and connected with just accumulation has meant that we brought the world to this condition. And it's only when we change our lifestyle by changing our consciousness that then we'll be able to create a better climate for all and allow there to be a different type of world for the future. And so today we need to have simplicity, we need to have care and compassion for others around us, and we need to really see if we can reduce our carbon footprint. So although COVID has reduced personally the travel footprint for most of us, but yet the production of the gases has gone on so that within the last few months, the heat has actually risen. And so we are seeing things like the forest fires, the wildfires in California, we are seeing the fires in Siberia. And so the thing that we can all do is simplify our needs and be content and know that happiness is within. Happiness doesn't come from accumulation. And to change our dietary habits so that we return to plant-based diet. And that would be a huge, huge shift in terms of the gas that is being produced.
Thank you. I know this is a huge topic of discussion, which cannot be summed up so quickly, but you've done an amazing job of doing that. Climate change is a big thing, and we really have to consciously make an effort to make sure that we are serving nature to the best as we can. So thank you for answering that question, Sister Jayanti. There's a question that has come up on the chat box that says Namaste and Om Shanti from Shilpa. She says, how to keep being positive and happy?
Can I just interrupt for a moment and say that I'm now seeing Sister Vedanti with
Sure.
us on
Okay.
the screen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Meenaben, if you can spotlight Sister Vedanti, please. There we go. If Sister Vedanti says a few words, then obviously she'll come up directly onto the speaker's view. So Sister Vedanti, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti Lalit Bhai, thank you for inviting me. Meenaben, thank you for inviting me. And I'm very happy that you all have organized a wonderful program, which I got information from my dear sister, Jayanti Ben. I'm happy that Jayanti Ben from all the way London and Meenaben have organized this program from Nakuru, Kenya, and all over the world, the connection, it's Dar es Salaam and Kenya and here and there. So I'm very happy, and we all able to invite our new High Commissioner. That is wonderful also. And I can see so many online because I joined our 5:30 Kenya time to listen every step. And I'm very happy that Lalit Bhai is conducting very nicely, and he's glorifying Brahma Kumari. And the same time, it looked that he's one of the powerful Raj Yoga brother with us. And our good wishes to you that you get extreme blessing from God to glorify God all over the world. And Meenaben, I'm very happy that you are next to us in Nakuru. So within a short time, we will meet to each other. And Jayanti, when I'm very happy that all the way from London, you are giving information of the spirituality and how to come out from COVID to the world, and especially from Kenya. So I'm very happy when Jayanti Ben was speaking. I was feeling so happy that, wow, it's wonderful that Meena been able to organize this all, and all are supportive. Thank you and wonderful. And I'm very, very happy. Good luck to you all to organize more and more program like this. So with the subtle and spiritual power, we able to remove all the problems which have come all over the world, and this world will be heaven one day. Om Shanti, thank you.
Om Shanti. Vedanti Ben, thank you so much. Thank you for all the good blessings. So we really, really appreciate that. And I'm sure, Sister Jayanti, you got another pleasant surprise to see Sister Vedanti on screen today.
Thank you for that. It was beautiful. And yes, I'm very happy to go back to Shilpa's question.
Yes.
And if I realize that God's power is the most powerful authority that exists in the universe, I think that then I know that by connecting with God, I can always see that which is the highest and the best in everyone and everything. And so it's possible to keep my mind in a very, very positive track. And I think at this time of darkness, that's absolutely vital. And so it's that connection with the divine that allows us to raise our thoughts and feelings above the mundane, in which we get affected by all the things that are going on. And our happiness is actually deep within the soul. It's one of the inherent qualities of the soul itself. Peace is our swadharma, our original state of being. Love is the natural state of the human spirit. Truth is what we were originally. Purity is that which we've forgotten, but which we can achieve once again. And as a result of all of these things, as we experience each one of these factors, then we get to that state of joy, of happiness that no one can take away from us. My happiness lies within my own inner world, but my connection with God gives me the power to be able to sustain that, even as I live in the world and do all the things that I need to, but yet being able to stay up above like the lotus flower. And so the lotus flower is in water, and maybe it's stagnant water, but it stays up above and is untouched by the water, but rather it brings beauty and grace and purity wherever it is found. And so connecting with God gives us a life as pure and as joyful and as beautiful as a lotus flower.
Thank you. So beautifully answered. And I hope, Shilpa, you find the joy in these answers given by Sister Jayanti. Sister Jayanti, time is moving on so fast. We have a few questions that have come up, but unfortunately, time has kicked in. We have to move on to the next section of our Zoom session today, in which is our very, very popular, as we would like to call it, our very popular rapid fire round. I hope that's okay with you.
Yes, surely.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to say is I'm going to say a word, and you may answer it as a word or as a very short statement. So we have about 20 different points that we would like to cover in a very, very short space of time. Is that okay with you, Jayanti Ben?
Surely.
Okay, here we go. Health,
Well-being, it's my responsibility.
Brahma Kumari,
Transformation of myself and the world.
Dada Lekharaj Kripalani,
A pioneer for bringing justice and equality and peace into the world.
spirituality,
To be able to go inside and find the treasures that lie within.
Om Shanti, the greeting,
I am peace, and I remind myself of that at all times.
women empowerment,
Women are the power. Shiv Shakti, connected with God, they are the power.
and our beloved Dadi Janki,
The embodiment of truth, love, and wisdom.
meditation,
To know myself and to know the divine.
Sankalp se Srishti,
My pure thoughts can create a beautiful, pure world.
Karma,
As I sow, so I reap.
Sister Shivani,
The embodiment of love and wisdom and a communicator.
COVID-19, the pandemic,
Disaster and opportunity.
brilliant, lovely answer to that, yes. The color white,
Purity.
social media,
An amazing platform to share God's truth.
mantra chanting,
A chance to still my mind and focus.
Mount Abu,
The highest pilgrimage place in the world.
simplicity,
Lost you.
simplicity,
Purity.
vegetarianism or vegan,
Essential for life today and for the future.
current state of the human beings,
A chance for transformation from Tamo Pradhan to Sato Pradhan.
wow. And last but not the least, Dr. Lalit Soda's rapid fire round.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Sister Jayanti. Thank you. And my humble thanks to you for taking your time out for us and enlightening us with your words of wisdom. Thank you also for participating in the rapid fire round. A big, big Om Shanti to you and my humble obeisances and pranams at your lotus feet. May I now request the Secretary for the Lohana Community United Kingdom for a vote of thanks. The Secretary is Mr. Bharat Soda. Bharat, if you're ready for the vote of thanks. Meena Ben? Yeah, if you locate Mr. Bharat Soda, and he can start his vote of thanks. Thank you, Bharat.
Thank you, Sister Jayanti. You know, when we all hear about the pandemic, we hear about the difficulties that people face. No, very rarely do people look at the positive side. You know, what you mentioned about family time, spending quality time at home together with family, having meals together has really brought us much closer than before. And I think that that's one of the very good positive things. Yes, it has also given us time to think about the spiritual side of our lives. And thank you for guiding us on, you know, what we can do to raise our level of consciousness. On behalf of Lahana community of UK, I would like to thank you for appearing on this Zoom session and sharing your thoughts on the silver lining to the cloud of COVID-19. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you very much to the Lohana community.
Thank you, Bharat, for the thank you speech. Now, before we have the end, before Mrs. Meena bin Khagram finally says a thank you, we have a very, very special time that Sister Jayanti has allocated to make sure that we get a guided meditation before the end of this session. So, Sister Jayanti, may I request you to take us all through this guided meditation as we spoke?
Yes, indeed. Just carry on sitting comfortably, and I'll share my own thoughts as I meditate and invite you to follow these ideas. Going on that inner journey, coming to the awareness of the inner being, the soul. I shine, and the light radiates. And in this awareness, I connect with the peace that I carry within myself. As I become peaceful, I can feel the presence of the divine, and my thoughts move towards the being of light, the source of all positive attributes, the being of light, Shiva, the benefactor, radiates the light of truth, of love, of purity and peace. And in the presence of the divine, each of these qualities reach the soul. And I'm surrounded by the truth and the love. But not only do I receive these, but these qualities radiate out to the world. And as God's light touches human hearts, illusion begins to melt away, and the light of truth begins to shine. And the power of love ignites hope in human hearts. We're able to see a future filled with light, a world where darkness has disappeared and only the light of truth and love remain. I hold this awareness, and even as I come back into the consciousness of the physical dimension, I keep this connection with the divine. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Om Shanti. That was absolutely divine. Very, very powerful. And I'm sure all who participated in this guided meditation have certainly got a flavor of it. And if you have the flavor of it, find out more. Find out more about Brahma Kumaris by logging in www.brahmakumaris.org or www.brahmakumaris.uk and get some more information. Jayanti Ben, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on and giving us your valuable time in amongst your hectic schedule. Now, the session never comes to an end till our super 75-year-old Zooming lady doesn't say her vote of thanks. So if I may request Mrs. Meena Ben Khagram to say the final vote of thanks before we end the show today. Meena Ben.
Thank you, Lalit Bhai. Ladies and gentlemen, behalf of Lalit Bhai and myself, have to thanking you all for coming here, and people who have also watching on Facebook. Thank you, London community UK, Mr. Sunil Bhai Majithia, Secretary Bharat Bhai Soda, who is also brother to Lalit Bhai. Kanika was there, but she could not make it. She could not log in. Thank you, my co-host Ellie. Please come and say Om Shanti to everybody.
Om Shanti to everyone.
And thank you, my beautiful divine friend, actually world's friend, Sister Jayanti. Big thank you to you. Our special thanks goes to High Commissioner of India, His Highness Virendra Paul. This morning when I called him, he straight away agreed. In spite of his, I think it was Sister Jayanti that he wanted to see you rather than the program. Vidhuben, Amara Vevai na Vevai, fantastic lady. She gave some secrets out as well. Vedanti Ben, congratulations. Last week you celebrated 75 years of Brahma Kumari. Thank you all. Thank you everybody.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
It was actually her 75th birthday.
Oh, I thought it was in.
Now,
Then
75
happy
years age.
birthday. Yeah, Vida Ben. I thought it. With Vedanti Ben, congratulations. Happy birthday to 75. I'm nearly coming near, right behind you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to all the guests who actually logged in today. And we are very fortunate to have Sister Jayanti. And on my behalf, I would like to thank everybody that Meena Ben has mentioned, but especially Ali Kujahapa. Ali is wonderful home help adopted by Mrs. Meena Ben, who actually helps us a lot hosting the Zoom sessions. So Ali, say Om Shanti once again to Sister Jayanti, please.
Om Shanti.
Sister Jayanti.
Om Shanti to you, Ali.
Thank you.
And also to Dipti Ben, Jayanti Ben, she really helped me with a lot of information and to communicate with yourself. So Om Shanti to Dipti Ben also. And once again, on behalf of the whole of the global audience that's on today, my humble respects to you and a global Om Shanti to you.
Om Shanti, and I hope we meet again soon.
Absolutely. My desire is there.
Please stay, because we're going to unmute everybody so everybody can say hello to you as well. We are stopping the live now and we are going.